Let me just throw out everything Charlie wrote yesterday while you say hello, Jody.
Good morning, Charlie Pierce.
Oh, good morning, my sister Jody Hamilton.
Oh, my mom sends her love. I read her your tweet last week for your birthday greetings, so she said to say
thank you. Thank the national treasure that is your mother. Boy, do I wish I was having a lot of fun last night making fun of the Met Gala on Twitter, and then my timeline changed utterly.
Yeah.
I was there when Chris Hayes, I guess it was, reported the breaking news, and I think we were all just
apparently they handed him the thing while he was on the air.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I thought he handled it really well, but it's so self-evidently, the peril is so self-evident in the decision that in the draft opinion that it wasn't hard to explain what was going on.
Right. In the story in Politico, it said Supreme Court watchers, one of those would be you, Charlie. But, a lot of people predicted they'll chip away, they'll do this, they'll do that. Were you surprised by the ferocity of this opinion as it's written right now?
Once I knew it was Alito, no, because it's pure Alito.
Yeah.
The condescension, the sarcasm, the shoddy legal reasoning, that's all Sam Alito. And frankly, I think one of the more compelling subplots here, and I don't really care who leaked it and why. I'm going to leave that to SCOTUS blog and my friends Dahlia Lithwick and Joan Biskupik to find out. But John Roberts has lost control of the court.
Yeah.
He's the Chief Justice.
His vote's irrelevant now.
And he's out. Well, he can still follow the two great lodestars of his career, which are destroying voting rights and unleashing corporate money power.
Yeah.
They'll still let him do that. But on this issue, and a whole host of others, his control is gone. He doesn't control the Supreme Court any more than Kevin McCarthy controls the House Republican caucus.
Yeah.
He's along for the ride now.
Yeah. Do you feel that? Like a lot of Republicans are like, oh God, oh no, this morning? They seem to have lost control of their party, of the judiciary, of everything.
I disagree completely. This is the completion of a project started by Mitch McConnell, who is as conventional a Republican as there is right now. I don't think 15 Republicans lost a minute of sleep last night. They may not all celebrate it, but I don't think you'll see any prominent Republican come out in opposition to this. You read the tepid nonsense from Susan Collins.
Yeah.
That's as far as they're going to go.
Yeah. Well, Chris said Laura Ingraham was apoplectic, saying we're going to lose. We may lose the midterms because of this.
That and the who leaked this and why and how dare they is the squidding to obscure what the decision actually
You're
says.
exactly right.
Yeah.
That's why I don't want to even get into that guessing game because it's worthless.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think it's going to affect anything if the point was to leak it for blowback?
I don't know that the point was to leak it for blowback. I don't care, as Chris just said. It ought to occasion blowback. God, it ought to occasion. There were already protesters out in front of the Supreme Court last night. They put up barricades in about 10 minutes after the Politico story hit. I often go back to Mr. Dooley, who said that the Constitution may not follow the law, but the Supreme Court always follows the election returns. We'll see.
Well, you tweeted
because Alito says, quite frankly, in the opinion, that outside influences like human consequences and political turmoil shouldn't affect the way they decide these cases.
Yeah.
He said it at his confirmation hearings, and he says it in the opinion that was leaked.
Yeah, it basically was an FU, Americans, that we know the majority of you don't want Roe v. Wade overturned.
It absolutely was, and that was what convinced me that Politico was right on the money.
Yeah.
That this was an authentic opinion, and that Alito did write it.
Yeah.
Because that's pure Alito.
Well, you retweeted yesterday before this, Dems have taken the lead in the latest ABC Washington Post congressional poll, demolishing a 10-point GOP lead from their last poll. You just said hello. And I have to think Laura Ingraham is right to be panicked. I don't know how exactly numerically this is going to affect the midterms, but oh my God, if you thought the Women's March was big, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I hate to say this because I was there and was very moved by it. But what did the Women's March accomplish?
Yeah.
Well,
We got
I mean,
3 anti-choice
Yeah.
judges on the Supreme
right.
Court.
Yeah, some of
for
us
the
had
next
some thoughts on that in
10,000
2016.
years.
Why we should. Yes. Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, I agree
know,
with you, Charlie.
it affected the Republican Party not at all. And we got the Trump 3.
Yeah.
We're going to sit there and.
But this is what I was saying.
Now,
Democrats
Chris
have
LeBlanc
to.
mention this, and he's absolutely right. They're coming for everything now.
They are.
Well, and Charlie,
They're
a
coming
lot of
for
us said this
everything.
in 2016. A lot of us said this in 2016. And I said earlier in the show, we've got to stop. Like Democrats, we always have to undo all the damage. And this is what we said in 2016. This is going to affect the Supreme Court for 30 years. Vote for
Right.
Hillary. Like this is, and unfortunately, as you say, like the Women's March was after the fact. After we'd already have an illegitimate president that because he won by
but my
70,000
point
votes
is
in
it
3
didn't have
states
any effect
that voted
on the-
for
on-
Jill
It
Stein or
didn't have
whoever.
any effect going forward. The
Right.
people who held the power weren't listening
Right.
and didn't care. The million women could have marched through, Tom Cotton's office,
Right.
and he still would have voted the way he did.
Right. We have to march to the polls this time in
Yeah.
November
Exactly.
in numbers like we've never seen before. Charlie, so by the way, you just speaking because we're just raging against the machine today. But your piece echoed what I just read, Joe Walsh's tweet about. You said Mike Esper didn't think voters deserved to know that Trump wanted to turn the D.C. streets into My Lai. The Secretary of Defense thought this information would better serve his bank account 2 years later. I mean, here we go again with one of these books where
And actually, I talked about this when I was cheating on you with John Fugelsang.
yes, I heard about that.
But I sort of put the reporters who, except for Woodward, who knew about Trump and COVID and it saved it for his book. A lot of the books, I'm willing to concede that maybe they learned a lot of the stuff afterwards for Esper.
Yeah.
He was in the room where it happened.
Well, and you said, I'm beginning to believe book contracts are a genuine threat to our democratic government. And I think that's a good way to say it. I mean, it just, he said, can't you just shoot them? I mean, I don't know the law in terms of, Jody, law and order. That's an illegal order.
Yes,
right?
that is. Yes.
And there's
they-
no
yeah,
consequence for that if, because they didn't follow the illegal order?
Well, they didn't get the illegal order. Esper says he walked Trump back from it.
Yeah.
But
you
the idea that this was this guy's first, the first club out of the bag was shoot them in the legs. By the way, people die from getting
Thank you.
shot in
I
the
just was going to say, you have
Yeah, they
arteries in your legs.
Yeah,
Anyway.
the femoral artery is considered to be, a
Yes.
fairly important avenue for what we call life.
Yeah. Anyway,
Thing we call life.
But you
Yeah.
just write in June of an election year, the president, asterisk, of the United States wanted to use the military to create a bloodbath in and around Lafayette Park, and the Secretary of Defense had to, quote, walk Trump back. This is information the American people might have needed 5 months later while choosing to reelect the bloodbath dude or not. And you just said, I don't know what the hell good it does now, except it benefits Esper's bank account. I mean, it's, and again, we had heard this. It just wasn't confirmed from, as you said, the guy that was in the room where it happened, right?
Yeah, the public hearings, which are going to be blockbusters at this point.
Yeah.
I think, because I think we're going to find out, if nothing else, how close we really came. And I don't think even now we know how close we really came.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you finish this. I just love it. Can I say everybody in that sorry lash up failed their duties to the Republic and violated their constitutional oath. But the worst thing is that the American voters were deprived of the fullest possible look at the character for whom they were being asked to vote. And the only way left for them to find out was if the president actually followed through on this apparently raging tantrum. Yeah, I mean, it's... Oh, I have to say, though, on the abortion thing, do you remember that clip with Chris Matthews? Because I do. On that, he told us. He said, Chris Matthews said, does a woman have to be punished? Trump said, yes, absolutely. There has to be some punishment for the woman for an abortion. And do we not hear him? I mean,
Yeah, but again, I think I think even focusing on Trump is missing the overall,
right.
as Hal Holbrook says in All the President's Men. This is a long-term Republican project.
Yep.
This is a long-term Republican project, a long-term conservative project. Trump was just the easy, empty vessel they got to carry it out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Who was
Yeah.
pro-choice all his life, and God knows how many abortions he's probably paid for. Don't even get me started, right?
Well, I've said this before. When I was in 6th grade, I went to Catholic school. Back then, in 1980, they even had us
Yep.
make these pro-life signs for the March on Washington.
Yeah.
It was politicized back in 1980.
Yeah, I think I wrote a pro-life essay in Catholic
Yes.
school.
They
When
were
I didn't know what the
indoctrinating
hell I
us
was talking about. Yes.
young.
Yes.
And
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
was luckily I was of a different generation of you guys.
Yeah.
we mainly were concerned with saying Hail Marys to convert Russia,
Right.
which worked, by the way. It just worked badly.
Oh, speaking of Russia,
It took 40 years and ended up with Vladimir Putin, but hey, we did our best.
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Speaking of Russia and disinformation, you wrote a great piece. Orwell would eat these free speech warriors on toast and still
kidding.
have room for bangers and mash. The uproar in the right-wing monkey house over Biden's disinformation governance board rings a little hollow. And you said the poo was flung with great velocity when this was announced on
Yeah, I
Friday.
mean, but I'm telling you, and I say this later in the piece, Democrats have to get better at naming things. Because that name sounds East German. I'm sorry. It really does.
Right. What you said, Republicans are terrific at naming stuff, though most of the time those names are perfect examples of disinformation.
Yes. I mean,
The Clear Skies Treaty, the Friendly
another
Forests.
conundrum for us to deal with on another day.
Right. They're always
But-
the opposite of what they say they are, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's bizarro world.
Yeah, but you said I'm not going to, at the moment, listen to the party of insurrection, the party of book banning and library scouring, the party of dangerous myth-making about grooming and eat critical race theory, the party full of people who still bend the knee to the prince of 30,000 lies down in Florida. Hell, there's a party that lies to itself. Isn't that right? Never to be Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Regain your sanity, folks, before you start throwing around George Orwell's name in defense of your absolute right to launder and launch all the fantastical tales spun by Macedonian teenagers. That's what I keep saying, Charlie. They want, whether it's Twitter or else, they just want the right to lie with impunity and to not be fact-checked
Right,
anywhere.
Not to be criticized, not to be mocked. It's a project that's terrifyingly close to completion right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really is, and I mean, I want to see a coherent Democratic response, and I give golf clap to Jody Hamilton for saying enough with the accepting cases of rape and incest bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
no.
Wow.
sorry.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for that parting gift, Charlie. Thank you.
Jody did say it, so you could.
Fare thee well to our FCC license. All
I
right.
just wrecked the license.
No.
Yes,
I
you
have
did.
no radio gig
I
anymore.
dove under the
He
cabinet.
got
Nobody
it
wants
there.
to
I
know
told you
me.
to get ready.